Okay, little update here. You guys, this is, okay, when I said crowded, no, I don't mean just space, like we're going to be shoulder to shoulder. No, I assume, there's some minimal amount of farmlands we'll need and things like this, It's just the spatial metaphor. I mean, that is crowded, resource crowded, actual scarcity. You guys aren't getting it. I'm saying the scarcity is manufactured, not a real scarcity right now. We're seeing a sick system that wastes. It's like, a scarcity when you're, like, let's say you had your primary source of engine wasted 90% of the energy in the fuel. Um, well, you can hardly say that, the main problem is you're using too much fuel if you're using a tenth of the potential energy in there, right? You could, you know what I mean? There's a lot of room to improve that. So that is the situation. So, uh, yeah, but that one takes technological progress, granted. But there's a lot of similar things that are just the way we run things. The kind of economies we still have set up and the kinds of motivations we have in our system. But it's not easy to change that kind of stuff, and we just have to slowly, incrementally change it, and it can be. And if we visualize what we want it to change to, it makes it a lot easier because you can take steps in the right direction, no matter how small, if you really know what direction you're going in, and it makes for a good method. But yeah, no, I know it's resource scarcity. I'm just saying, if everything was sort of shared and produced intelligently, reasonably well at the height of potential human engineering, and people's attitude was such that they knew uh, that this was a good way to live, and not in every detail, but just in whatever details it took. And yeah, what resource would you really run into first? Water, well, I know there's oceans and desalinization, and there's, I like to think there's cheap energy somewhere on the horizon, cheaper still. We've already seen cheap energy revolutions, and, if energy's cheap, everything else is free, basically, is the rule, uh, as far as my view of the hard facts of economy, of macroscopic economy. Puro's theory of macroscopic economy. It's all energy based, but you know, so yeah, it's a lot more people than right now. Um, what would you not want to have happen first? What would you want to not have to live shoulder to shoulder? Even if we keep great big green spaces and stuff, you might not be able to live in it, right? It has to be kept for green space to regenerate the atmosphere or to grow food or whatever. I think that people could get crowded enough that all the cities move underground. I mean, being in a big skyscraper is like being underground anyway. You could have light tunnels to get sunlight down there if you're real fancy, or probably just have some sort of solar spectral lamps and things so it wasn't too depressing. I mean, again, they don't do this in skyscrapers, and lots of people don't see windows. But so they might do it underground, and then the whole surface of the earth could just be a jungle, even though there was 50 billion people living underneath the earth, including under the oceans. Maybe a trillion people, each with an apartment, a 1 acre apartment. Robots doing all the work.